See, set is unordered collection of unique elements. Set will not maintain any order. What the order you given the elements, same order it will not display in the output. And also it allow only unique elements, no duplicate values. And set can be created by using curly brackets. Yes, by using this bracket we can create a set. And set will allow different data type elements. Means we can include set collection like integers, characters, strings, float values. And set is mutable means we can modify at any point of time set elements. We can change the elements. Mutable object is set only. And one more thing, if you want to create an empty set, we should not use here empty curly brackets. To create an empty set, then we use set function we have to use. To create an empty set, we use what function? Set function. Let me show you practical implementation. So here s equals to, suppose I'm trying to take here empty curly brackets. You will see this won't create a set. Instead of this, you will get a dictionary here. Why? Because empty curly brackets leads to dictionary. Yes, for sure. Observe here. Dictionary also can be created in Python programming using curly brackets. That's what here I'm taking empty curly brackets. It's not a set. Set is not, it is dictionary. DICT, you can see DICT here. Dictionary it is. Okay. To create an empty set, what we need to do? We need to use set function. There is a built-in function called set function. Using this set function, we can create an empty set. Now you can see set function through. We are creating empty set. Empty set, if you want, you can create, you can use set function. Don't use empty curly brackets. Empty curly bracket leads to dictionary, not empty set. Because in Python programming, dictionary also can be created by using curly brackets. Next I'm going to discuss about dictionary only. So let's include set elements here. I'm including set elements like 10, 20, 30, 40. And this is set elements. Unordered collection of elements. Order is not important. Even if we try to give duplicate elements, it won't take duplicate values. It won't give any error. It simply ignore the duplicate values. Only original values or unique values only will be considered. And now you can see if I give some different data type elements, name and float values. Now let's run this. We'll get what? These are all the elements, but it is not in order wise. Is this order? No, it is completely unordered. What the way you create set elements, same way is it display? No, it's completely different way. Order is not important here. Unordered collection of unique elements. And set is mutable. We can change the elements. We can add one item. We can add multiple items. We can delete one item from the set, and we can delete complete set also. These changes are possible. That's what set is mutable. Set is mutable. And as I said, we can create empty set by using set function only. This is set. Whenever you want to maintain the collection of elements, all unique elements, then better to go for set, which is order is not important for you. Then go for set. And most important point is the data structure which is unordered, that don't have any indexes. Suppose string is there. String is sequence of characters. List is group of elements, ordered collection of elements. Tuple is ordered collection of elements. So this string and the list and the tuple is having some indexes. Indexes means like 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, and so on. Every element present in particular index. If you want to access any element, we can use indexes. But when it comes to set don't have any index because it is unordered. Unordered means we don't know at what time what element is going to display in which order. We cannot expect. Order will be keep on change. So at that moment, so we cannot access any value by using its index, because it is unordered collection of elements. Unordered collection of elements only, unique elements. So I'm saying once again, the data structure which is unordered, that don't have any index. The data structure which is ordered, that is having an index. String is ordered collection of elements, like sequence of characters. List is ordered collection of elements. Order is important here, list. Tuple is also ordered collection of elements. So these are all provide index based. Indexes will be there: 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index. Based on indexes, you can retrieve the elements from this collection. But when it comes to set, it is unordered. Don't expect any indexes. Okay, we cannot access any value from the set only. Now coming to the dictionary rules and regulations. Dictionary is somewhat different compared to other collections like set, list, tuple, string. Dictionary is a collection of items. Dictionary is a collection of items. In dictionary, each item can be a pair, that is key and value. Each item can be a pair, that is value, key and value. Key and value is one pair. Both key and value is combination is called one pair, one item. Like this, how many key pair values are there? That many items can be stored into dictionary. Dictionary is a collection of items. In dictionary, each item can be a pair, that is key and value. How we can create dictionary here in Python? Dictionary can be create by using curly brackets, same as this. And in dictionary, keys are immutable, means we cannot change the key, and must be unique. Unique keys only accept. In dictionary, values are mutable, and no need to be unique. Means what? Unique value is not required. You can include repeated values also, but only keys are unique. Key must be unique. Key cannot be duplicate. And keys are immutable, means once we create a key, you cannot able to change in dictionary point of view. But values are mutable. At any point of time, values can be changed, but values no need to be unique. Even duplicate values also we can maintain. For example, in one organization, so many employees are there. Their employee IDs are unique, that are keys, but employee names no need to be unique. Okay, employee names can be changed, but employee keys ID cannot be changed. That just for example. But sir, set is immutable. Set is mutable, we can modify. Tuple is immutable, we cannot modify. Whereas string is immutable, we cannot modify. List is mutable, we can modify. But what about dictionary? You cannot say directly dictionary is mutable or immutable like this, because in dictionary only keys are immutable and values are mutable. Okay, in dictionary, keys and values can be of any data type. Any data type means like basic data types only: integer, float, character, string. Key can be integer, key can be character, key can be float, value can be integer, value can be character, value can be string, like this. But we cannot include key as a mutable object. Suppose list is a mutable, but we cannot include list object in place of keys in dictionary. Okay, which is not mutable, that is immutable, we can place into key location. That I will show you clear practical implementation when I include dictionary functionality. But as of now, these rules and regulations I can disclose related to dictionary. Dictionary is a collection of items. Each item can be a pair in dictionary, that is key and value. Dictionary can be created by using curly brackets. In dictionary, keys are immutable, values are mutable, and keys must be unique, values need not to be unique. In dictionary, keys and values can be of any data type. Let's simply create a dictionary here. D equals to empty curly brackets I'm taking, print D, and then print type of D. Now you can see type of D. Let's run this. This is dictionary. And I'm taking here 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you think is this dictionary? No, it is set. Because dictionary is nothing but key value pair, but here only keys are available. Now let me give the values. Just one ID, name is Sai, another ID, second ID Durga, and third ID just I'm taking Mohan, and fourth ID I'm taking Ram. So this is, observe here, one key, one value. This is completely pair, key and value pair. This is second pair, third pair, fourth pair. So key and value pairs here. This is dictionary. And as I said, that key can be of any name. Okay, key can be of any type. One key is there and two keys there. For example, what will happen, sir, if I include one more key? You can say duplicate keys are there. Key must be unique, I said, but here duplicate keys there. So in these two pairs, any one of the pair only will be print here, not both pairs. Now you can see one Durga, one Sai. No, only one Durga is pair. This is observed here. Only one, and one is a key, Durga is a value clearly. Okay. So if it is duplicate key, any one of the key value pair only will be accepted. If it is unique, no problem. All the key pair will be accepted here. And this key can be of any data type. For example, name. Name is a string. String key I'm using here. Will it accept? Yes. Value can be of any type. Like for example here, just I'm giving number and even floating point also. So as I said, that keys and values can be of any type. But make sure that keys can be unique and values no need to be unique. Duplicate values also is possible. For example, in this case, you can see ID number 1, ID number 2. ID number 1 is Sai name, ID number 2 is also Sai name. Both are names are same, but their keys are different. It's possible, sir. This is dictionary information. We need to discuss more functionalities on dictionary, but right now, not. Later we'll discuss. Okay. Yes. So this is dictionary. Coming to the range. Range is used to generate range of values or sequence of values. It is used to generate. It is used to generate range of values. Range of values. By default, range starts from. By default, range starts from 0. Even if you want to start your range with any number, you can start. Range is immutable. Range is immutable means we cannot change. We cannot change the range of values once we create it. Range is immutable. It is used to generate range of values. By default, range starts from 0 and range is immutable. We cannot change. Okay, this is only range, but let me try to create a range data type here. R equals to range of 10. Print R. Print type of R. What type it is? Range type. But just observe here, I'm just creating range of 10, means 0 to 10, 0 to up to 10, not including 10. This also I have to observe. Including 10, not here. Up to 10 means including 9. So range of 0, 10 is there. But why it's not displaying this range of values? Yes, by default, range will not display any values. You have to be convert this range type into any other data structure like list or tuple or set. So I'm just converting that into list of R. And now you can see we are getting this range values into list format. 0 onwards it starts, ending with 9, because up to 10 is this. If you want to include 10 in your output, then you can go for 11. Then now you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is there. 11 is excluding. And you can start your range with 2 also, not 0. Now this moment, your range starts from 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is starting value. And this is stop value. And one more value also there, that is step value. Each and every number is going to be increased step by 2. Means 2 plus 2, 4 plus 2, 6 plus 2, 8 plus 2, 10. If you want to increase this step value like 3, 2 plus 3, 5 plus 3, 8 plus 3, 11. 11 will not be there. Only 2, 5, 8 is there. So this is the range of values. This range values, once we create it, we cannot able to change. So this is immutable. Range is immutable. These are all collection data types or sequence data types. Just the basic information only I'm just giving here. But what about this byte array frozen set? Yes, for sure I'll discuss about this byte array frozen set, but not at this moment, because these range we can create directly. This list we can create, the dictionary set, tuple, list, all these things we can create directly. But this byte array frozen set we cannot create directly. So we have to take help of any other collection like list, tuple, set. Then only we can create a byte array frozen set. These are simple, and these can be used in special case only. What case we have to use, I will discuss later when I start detailed discussion of these all data structures. For sure I'll cover about this byte array frozen set. This is not right situation to talk about this. We'll discuss later for sure after completion of data structure explanation. Okay, this is complete data structure basic information what we have. So it doesn't mean that I have finished the data types and data structure. No, we have to spend a lot of time on string, list, tuple, set, because I have shown in the last session clearly to get complete functions list related to string or any data structure, we use this one. You can see these many functions are there on list on string data structure. We have to discuss each and every function in detail with practical example. And not only here, list also is having a lot of functions, set is having functions, dictionary is having functions. All functions I have to discuss in detail. But when it is possible, once you got an idea about operators as well as control statements, which is available in Python programming. After finishing that two concept, then we'll start with the data structure and its complete operations. Okay. Now it's time to start another concept, that is simple concept, operator concept. It is very simple, but it is important because we are going to use rapidly these operators in Python programming. It looks like simple, but it's important. So operators in Python. See, this is also very common concept in any other programming languages like C, C++, Java, C#, .NET, and so on. Operator is a symbol which is used to perform some required operation. Okay, for example, any numbers you can take 4 plus 6 equals to 10. Here plus equal to or what actually? Operators. Operators. This plus and equals to are operators. And 4 and 6 are what actually? Operands. Operands, we can say that. Operands. Plus and equal to are operators, 4 and 6 are operands. So using this plus, we are going to do arithmetic addition. Using this equal to operator, we are assigning that. What assigning? 10 value. Okay. So this is operator, but Python supports different types of operators. Let me arithmetic operators, relational operators, assignment operators, logical operators, membership operators, identity operators, and seventh one is bitwise operators. Bitwise. These are all operators are there in Python programming. One by one we have to discuss. Let's quickly start with arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used to perform arithmetic operations. Like these are the arithmetic operator. Plus is for addition, minus is for subtraction, star is for multiplication, Slash is for division. Modulus is for modulus. Division will return quotient. Modulus will return remainder. And now at the same, double star indicates this is power. Double slash indicates this is floor divide. Floor divide, we can say that. Floor divide. This is floor division. I'll explain you what is floor divide. Okay. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. This is power. If I give double star indicates power, single star indicates multiply. And double slash indicates floor divide. Let's quickly show you. Here you can see 3 plus 2, 5. This is very simple. 3 minus 2, 1. 3 into 2, 6. 3 by 2, 1.5. 3 is double star 2, 3 to the power of 2, 3 square, 9. Print 3 modulus 2, that is 1. Print 3 slash 2, that is 1. Observe here. 3 plus 2, 5. 3 minus 2, 1. 3 into 2, 6. 3 by 2, 1.5 exactly. 3 double star 2 is 3 to the power of 2. This is a power operator. Double star indicates 3 square, 9. 3 modulus 2, it is going to return a remainder. And just observe this and this. This is going to return 1.5 and this is going to return what? 1 only. That means this is not going to floor divide. Floor means it will reduce the values and it will round up the integral part. 1.5 means only 1 will return. Any number like this. 3 by 2, 1.5, 3 slash slash 2, that is floor division, only 1 will return. So these are the arithmetic operators. And relational operators also very simple, less than, greater than, okay, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, yes, this is double equal to means just relational operator, not equal to means relational operator. But single equal to is leads to assignment operator, sir. Double equal to means relational. Okay, comparison operator or relational operator. Single equal to means just assignment, that is. I'll talk about assignment operator later. First, let me finish this. These are all operators will return either true or false based on its condition. Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to. These are all will return true or false only, sir. Okay, let me check. Print 3 less than 2. 3 less than 2 is not correct. So obviously it return false. 3 greater than 2. This is what? Correct. And 3 equal to 2. Not correct. False. 3 not equal to 2. Yes, exactly. 3 is not at all equal to 2. It's correct only. And 3 less than or equal to 2. Less than or equal. Any one, if it is required, then that is true only. But 3 is not less than and equal to 2. Let's go for 2 less than or equal to 2. Yes, 2 is not less than 2, but 2 is equal to 2. It's correct. Same like greater than or equal to 2 also. This is very simple. It's not a big deal actually here. This is all relational operators. Now coming to this assignment operators. See, equal to is nothing but simple assignment operator. Assign the value. Generally, when we want to assign any value to the variable, we use equal. Plus equals to is there. That is add and assign. This is add and assign. Minus equals to is there. Minus equals to subtract and assign. Subtract and assign. Star equal to multiply and assign. Multiply and assign. Slash equals to division and assign. Divide and assign. Next, modulus equals to modulus and assign. Modulus and assign. Floor divide equals to floor divide and assign. Floor divide and assign. Double star equals to power and assign. Power and assign. This is simple assignment operators. So simple assignment is equal to, plus equals to means add and assign, minus equals to subtract and assign. Same like this. We'll see this. For example, let us consider a value 5. Any number you can take, no problem. Print A. We are assigning 5 value to A variable. This is simple assignment. Immediately next time taking A plus equals to 2, print A. That meaning is what? A plus equals to I'm taking. Means add and assign. A is holding already 5 and 2 value will be added to A. 5 plus 2, 7. Then 7 will be assigned to A. So this is add and assign. And this expression we can also write like this. A equals to A plus 2. Anyone. A plus equals to 2 or A equal to A plus 2. Anyone you can do this. So here what is happening here? This currently A is holding here 5. 5 plus 2. That means 2 will be assigned to 5. 2 will be added to 5. Add and assign. Total what? 7. 7 will be assigned to A only. If I do immediately A minus equals to 2 means print A on where it will be subtract 2 from here or from here. So actually recent calling is what? Recent value is what? A is holding 7. So 7 minus 2, 5 only there. But you don't think so. 5 minus 2, 3 here. Because recent value which is holding on A, that value, it will affect on that value only. 7 minus 2, that is 5. So result is 5 only here. Subtract and assign this is. Oh, sorry. Subtract and assign not. Why? Because this is 2 times I have taken here. Let's remove this. Now this time we will get correct. Now you can see 5. Initially it is 5 and print 5 and 2 is added 7 here. 7 minus 2, that is print 5 only again. So this is addition, add and assign, subtract and assign, even multiply and assign. Multiply and assign means A is holding right now 5. A star equals to 2 means print A 5 into 2, 10. Okay, now next what I'm trying to do, print A power I'm taking equals to 2. 10 to the power of 2, that is 10 square, 100 value is going to display here. Are you getting? Same like this modulus A modulus equals to 2, print A. So what is that? Modulus will return what? Remainder. That is 0. So same like this, we have to go through other operators. So these are all assignment operators clearly here. And next coming to the logical operators. Logical operators are and, not, or, and then not. And or not. And return true, sir. When it return true, if both the conditions are true. 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 Else it return what? False. And return true. When it return true, this operator, logical operator, if both the conditions are true, then only it return true. Otherwise it return what, sir? False. Let's check out. Here A value 10, 9, B value 10. Okay. So directly we can take, no problem. Print 3 less than 4 and 1 less than 4. 3 less than 4, 1 less than 4. Both are correct. Both are true. If both are true means what? And will return true only, no? Yes. This condition true and this condition is also true. If both are true, then and will return true finally. We got it true only here. Just observe. And or means, suppose if I take both are false, one of the condition is false. 7 less than 4 is not correct. But 1 less than 4 is correct. Even one of the condition is false, one of the condition is true, also it return false. Same if I take or means any one of the condition is true, then it return true. Return true. When it return true, if any one of the condition is true or both conditions are true, or both the conditions are true, then it return true. Else it return false. Else means if both conditions are false, it return false. Or will return true if any one of the condition is true or both conditions are true, then it return true. Otherwise it return what's are false. Let's check out here. I'm using or. one of the condition is true, 7 less than 4, it is false. It is correct, 1 less than 4, it is true. But one of the condition is true, no, then it return true. Both the conditions true, no, then even it is also written true. Both the condition true. But when it will be false, if both conditions are false, then it return false. 9 less than 4 or 7 less than 4, it return false in this case. Or this is OR. Next, not is there. Not means that simply opposite. That is, if condition is true, and this will return false. If condition is false, then it return true only. Return true if the condition is false. Return false if the condition is true. That is reverse. So let's check out here. Suppose here I'm taking 1 less than 4. It's exactly true. But not 1 less than 4 means what? Not I'm using. This is not, means false. Okay. See, simply what I'm saying, not false means what? True only. Not true means what? False only. Not true means false. If condition is true, then it return false. If condition is false, then it return true only. Opposite. These are all very common operators. Excuse me. These are all common operators. And now we can see in Python programming, we use membership and identity operators. This is something new to you. Membership operators. Membership operators purpose is what? Membership operators are used to check. Membership operators are used to check whether the members are values or elements. Members or values are present in given sequence or not. Given sequence or not, we have to check. Who will check? Membership operators will check. Membership operators are used to check whether the members or values are present in given sequence or not. If your member or value is present in given sequence, membership operators will return true, otherwise false. What are the membership operators? In is one of the membership operator. Not in is one of the membership operator. In, not in. And strictly remember, this in is a keyword. Not is also keyword. Look at here. Just let me show you keyword list quickly. Import keyword, print keyword dot kw list. Once I use this keyword dot kw list, now observe here. Somewhere we find not is a keyword, and here also you can see in is a keyword. Just observe, in is a keyword. We are using this. Even is also keyword, is not also keyword. So is I'm going to use next identity operator. First, let me talk about membership operators. Membership operators are used to check whether the members or values are present in given sequence or not. Okay, in will return true, sir. When it will return true? If the value present in given sequence. If the value present in given sequence. If the value is present in given sequence, it return true. Else it return what, sir? False. Not in there. Not in. It return true. It return true. When it return true, if the value is not present in given sequence. It's not present in given sequence. Else it return false. Really, if your value is not present in given sequence, then it not in will return true. Otherwise, it return false only. In will return true if the value present in given sequence. Otherwise, it return false. Not in will return true if the value is not present in given sequence. Otherwise, it return false. These are used to check. For example, I have a collection. What collection? List a collection 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I want to check this value. What value? 10 in L or not. This is membership test. One of the member or value. Yes, these are all members of the list only. I'm checking if this one of the member is present in my sequence or not. So 10 in L, yes, 10 is there in L. So that's what return true. Suppose here I'm using 10 not in L. 10 not in L? No, it is in L. It is in L. It is there in L. So that's what it return false. Not in will return true. When it return true, when really your value not present in sequence, it return true. Yes, 100 is 100 not in L. So really 100 value not present in sequence, given sequence. So it return true. Okay, 100 in L I'm taking. 100 value is there in list? No. But you are saying 100 in L, but it's false. So hope you understand. So this list values not only list any sequence, any characters also I can take. Not only here directly we can pass this list in place of L also. No need to take separate list variable. And here in this sequence, anything you can take. Not only what we can say Durga Soft I'm taking. Suppose here my character is D. Do you have letter D in Durga Soft? Just observe here letter D. Yes, I have letter D in Durga Soft string. So it return true. Do you have letter X in Durga Soft? There is no letter X in Durga Soft string. So it return false. So this is a sequence and this is a operator. In operator, not in operator. This is the value or member. What value you want to check, you can check it. Next, identity operators. Identity operators are used to check whether the variables, variables or any Python object. Yes, in Python, everything is considered as object. Identity operators are used to check whether the variables or any Python objects are having same identity or not. It will check. Same identity or not, it will check. So what are the identity operator? Is not. Here is a keyword, not is a keyword. Is not are identity operators. Is will return true, sir. When it return true, if the variables are having same identity. If the variables are having same identity, else it return what, sir? False. If not, is not will return true. Is not will return true. When it return true, if the variables are not having same identity, else it return what, sir? False. Simple. Is will return true if the variables are having same identity, otherwise it return false. Is not means it return true if the variables are really not having same identity, otherwise it return false. Simple. Let's check out here. I'm taking a value 2, b value 4. Now I'm checking a is b. A is b? No. A is different, b is different because of their values are different. So a is not b. So we are saying a is b, it is false. In case if I check a value to b value to, a is b? Yes, a is b. A is having, A and B are having both identity. Even you can check out DURGA Durga, here capital letter Durga here. D is capital and A and B are both are having same identity? No, because it starts with small letter and it starts with capital letter. Both are not having same identity, it's having different identity. And if I say small letters both, A is B. Even you can check A is not B. Yes, correct. A is not B. It is false. A is not B, not correct. A is B actually. Both are having same string. But what based it will check? Okay, let me show you. There is a function in Python programming that is called ID function, sir. What function we have? ID function. ID is a built-in function. It is a built-in function, which is used to get memory address of the object, memory address of the object, and it will return unique integer. It will return a unique integer always. ID is a built-in function in Python which is used to get memory address of the object or variable, and always this id function will return a unique integer actually. Let me check. I'm taking here print id of a, then print id of b. Now you can see id of a, id of b. I'm finding identity of a and b. So memory address name is integer name is same or not. So that's the reason when we say a is b, then it's going to return what actually correct, true only. Based on this only, it recognize whether two variables are having same identity or not. For example, if I take this capital letter D, A is different identity, B is having different identity now. Now you can see A is different identity, B is different identity. This is what actually false. A is B is false. Even similarly, you can take 10 and 20. This A is different identity and B is having different identity. Now you can see this is false. Identity number you can check. Both are same, not same. If I say like this 10 and both are same identity, that's written what? It written correct, true only. So these are identity operators and membership operators, logical, assignment, relational, arithmetic. Okay, and these bitwise operators are there here, but I'm not going to use bitwise operators in my upcoming programming also. But as a programmer, you must and should aware what is bitwise operator, how to do calculation bitwise, bit by bit, and what kind of bitwise operators are there. We'll be discussing tomorrow's session. And regarding this session, if you have any question, you can please ask me now. See, I have received some mails in the last yesterday from Durgasoft. I have sent that recording videos and Python material also. Those who already registered with us, I have mails here. Okay, I hope you received that videos and mails from this mail ID. Okay, you will receive this records and all from this mail ID. This mail ID. This is my mail ID only. Okay, this is. Don't get confused by looking this name. Okay, it's not my name. I just given my child name because I have a lot of mail IDs because to upload the videos. So that's what I changed this name completely. Don't get confused. This from this mail you will get videos and recording videos and material also. Okay, I hope you received that. Those who already registered with us, you received this Python material as well as video recordings up to now what we discussed. You will receive this today's videos also. Now you can see this material I just prepare up to data types only, and I just keep on preparing this material completely here. This is versions, introduction, history of Python, steps to install Python software, and indentation, comment section, variables, identifiers, multiple assignment, keywords, data types, all these things. But still, I can add some concepts which I discussed recently. I'll keep on adding this stuff into this documentation. I'll send again. Okay. Yes. I have complete document with me, but that is not in well structured. I have to arrange in well structured. It will take time. So that's all about my side today. So those who not registered so far, please register immediately by contacting to Durgasoft people so that you will get this material and also recording videos. This is the 5th session, I think so. You will get 5 recording videos today itself once you register with them. If you register, then only I'll get your mail IDs from Durgasoft. Once I'll receive your mail IDs, then I'll share my videos and material. Any question regarding this? Yes. See you tomorrow on same link at same time.